You knew it was a good night at Old Dominion when there was standing water in the bathroom. Or in the bathroom.
Welcome, everybody. Sean and Kevin back once again to broadcast the taskbar of Sean Butler's computer and the Windshield Deep Racing League in the ONEwraps Cup Clash. We're at Rockingham tonight. There's Davey Davis. We love Davey here in this house. 135 laps tonight. We had a little bit of a break. We had a week off. Had to regather our bearings for this league and for the broadcast. And Sean, I think we both are excited to see this race tonight. By the way, great camera work. I really do appreciate you. Current pole sitter at the moment is Blake Reynolds, 24.087. About a tenth and a half faster than Spencer Dickinson, second place. Landon Huffman currently in third. Not a huge field tonight, but still a very competitive one tonight. So should be a good race. Should be a good race as far as competition's concerned. Oh, Davey's wrecking. And something I've noticed, Sean, just the few minutes of practice I've been observing, normally the fixed setup here at Rockingham is pretty tight. You pretty much have to crank the holy hell out of the wheel. Not so this week. They are all over the place. That rear end is kicking out like crazy. So it's going to be really exciting to see these guys actually having to wheel this thing and to maybe not just have to worry about being on the bottom. They're going to have to wheel it through the corner. Yeah, like I said, one of the dogs has the cone of shame, so she's not really a fan of it. And that's what you hear. He did. I watched him do it. I watched him try 2 or 3 times. He saved the theme. He changed it over, did it again, and it still didn't save. So if anyone with ATVO experience would like to show us how to do it, that would be great for next time. But for now, we got results. Listen, I like Iowa, but, you know, it is what it is.
Do what? I'm just excited to race at Iowa for the 4th time this year. Feel pretty good about it. Yeah, I think, great time of the year in Iowa, and just started harvesting, so
Chucking
Excellent.
some corn.
yeah.
Someone do me a favor and let me know if I could be heard on the broadcast, please. We need to.
Yes, you can.
Yes, yeah.
Am
I
I
hear you
echoing at
loud
all?
and clear. No.
Is it too loud?
You're probably on a scale of 1 to 10 about a 6, and we're a 5. So I think it works out.
Okay, well, I just wanted to know.
I think
Just
Davey's going to sing the national anthem, so I'm going to go right down here.
All right, go back down there, man. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Is Davey singing the national anthem?
I don't hear anything.
Let's unmute. Davey has been requested to sing the national anthem, so we unmuted the race chat, and I hear nothing.
Davey, you want to sing the national anthem?
All right, here we go. Stand by for Davey.
Somebody has to enable Davey's chat.
All right.
Well, I want to say let's go ahead and do the starting lineup. But they got Davey's chat unmuted, so that's a good start.
Not everyone's gridded yet, but we'll go ahead and go through the starting lineup first off. We'll get rid of this ticker. We'll bring up this one.
Davey, I need a 30-second national anthem.
Why is everything out of order? I guess it's because nobody's gridded yet.
I don't know how that works.
I don't either.
Anyway, Blake Reynolds is your pole sitter for tonight. I believe that's his second pole of the year. Casey Pierce will be rolling off second. Andy Trupiano ran last night's race, by the way. Very happy to see him over at FTF. Over here, Windshield Deep will be rolling off third. Spencer Dickinson in fourth. Dylan Wilson will be rolling off in fifth. Landon Huffman, two-time winner this season, will be rolling off in the sixth spot. Matt Kingsbury and Daryl McKee, Kingdom teammates, will pilot the fourth row. Seth Harrelson in a top 10 starting position this week, Sean, will be rolling off ninth. And Ricky Harden will roll off in the 10th position.
All right, so we're still getting our stuff figured out. So nothing is participating tonight. So everyone, please stand by.
All 17 of you, please do not shame Sean. There's other people you could shame, but don't shame Sean. You can shame me, but don't shame him. He's very self-conscious. He's doing his best.
ONEwraps is still up there, by the way.
Windshield Deep broadcast is in shambles.
You're darn
we're
tootin'.
rolling off. And Blake Reynolds going to be one of the recipients of the top 3 penalty being sent to the end of the longest line. Looks like Andy Trupiano as well. And I think Landon Huffman's the third. He is. So these three, if you're a little unfamiliar with the way Windshield Deep does things for the ONEwraps Cup Clash 87 series, top 3 finishers from the previous race do not start up front. They start shotgun at the very back of the field. So these guys, despite qualifying up front, will have to navigate their way through the field, and they're going to have to worry about saving their tires as well here, Sean. It's going to be one of those situations where they're going to have to worry about keeping the pace up, but this track kills tires, especially the rear end, especially with how loose the setup is.
Really does. So it's going to be interesting to see how these guys manage these things, and really going to be a treat for you guys to watch, because these guys are going to be very slippy, slidey in these cars, and it's going to take a lot to navigate these things around here. So I'm anxious to see as we're getting ready to go green.
Pace truck is off. Green flag is out tonight. 135 laps around this mile D-shaped oval, and Dylan Wilson really low. He hits the apron, pushes up a little bit into his ONEwraps teammate of Casey Pierce, but it looks like he's going to be off about a 4/10 of a second lead already. And the big mover already is going to be that Matt Kingsbury machine in the front in the 51 car.
So Matt Kingsbury up to second already. There you see a close-up and personal. As we look through, nothing is working. Maybe if I do this, it'll work. Yeah, now it'll work. There we go. All right, so we have effective cameras now. So side by side behind him, that's Spencer Dickinson in the 6 car, Casey Pierce right behind. Now, these guys do have a couple of sets of tires. As back here, we got Ricky Harden in that 15, Mason Maggio in the 64 car, that Nationwide Chevrolet. It looks pretty nice as they make their way through 3 and 4, still side by side. But right now, Dylan Wilson still leading this thing. He's got a pretty sizable lead up here.
First battle for position was the 22 of Max Price and Seth Harrelson. Max Price absolutely sent it into turn 1, and he made it stick. Oh, a little bit of contact as well behind him. Mason Maggio and Ricky Harden get into it. A lot of comers and goers in this field, and I think someone that's kind of already worrying about those tires, Sean, is this 18 machine of Casey Pierce. He started in second, and he's already fallen outside the top 5, so he's going to be 100% saving here. He's stacking up this high line. Seth Harrelson all over the place. Mason Maggio on that inside line trying to navigate this traffic, and he is loose on the bottom line, and that gives Ricky Harden the opportunity to pass, and Blake Reynolds is already in the top 10.
Blake Reynolds started near last in this race, and he's already cracking the top 10 as these cars are just zooming around this track. Very quick around here. But there you see Blake right there, all over the back of Casey Pierce. Blake is not concerned about saving tires at all. He's going to the front as there's Ricky Harden getting loose. He's going to save it. I'm trying to get to him. And
he got hit by Jacob Hayes. Had nowhere to go, the number 1 machine. Get a replay here. There's Ricky. And we talked about it in the pre-race momentarily there, Sean. Very loose setup. And it looks like that's what bit Ricky. He had to check up a little bit for the 18 car saving, and unfortunately Ricky couldn't save the car himself, and he was pretty much okay.
Looks like he just hit the wall here. Watch him going into turn 1. He just nudges it a little bit, but the amount of checking up he had to do for Casey just was too much. Oh, and Jacob Hayes got a good chunk of that as well. Statute of limitations hasn't passed in this.
Thankfully, iRacing made the right decision and got rid of the new damage model. I'm sure Ricky would have lost his left front tire if we still had that, so he will live to race the rest of this event. We'll get another shot here.
He's coming back down the track. Nowhere for him to go.
I know how that is. We saw what happened to me last night. You just can't see what's going on with all the traffic in front of you, and unfortunately for Jacob, that 15 car was still trickling down the banking in turn 1. So caution's out with 7 laps complete. Couple takers on pit road. Ricky Harden, not surprising to see him in pits. Brett Pancari, Davey Davis, Jacob Hayes also in the pits. Curious to see. Hopefully these guys aren't taking their first of 2 sets in the pits. It looks like these guys are just taking fuel only, maybe fixing a little bit of damage on that 305 machine of Davey Davis. But early incident for Ricky and Jacob.
Jordan Worth is looking really muffled on the right front of Davy's car there. You see him right next to the right front tire.
He's split in half.
There goes Brett Pancari. We talk about this paint scheme a lot, and we are very big fans of this. You know, the Castrol GTX / Jolly Rancher / ONEwraps. There's a lot of contingencies in this car, I noticed, too. So he's having a good run so far. Well, not really. He's on the pit lane, but he doesn't have any damage, so I guess he's just getting fuel for the long haul. So look for him to be cutting his way up through the field here shortly, as we should, I believe, be coming to 2 laps to green here.
Yeah, go back to that Brett Pancari car. For the longest time, I thought it was a rally tribute. It's a John Force tribute, and you know the telltale sign. It literally says John Force on the door, and I missed that. Plus, Jolly Rancher was a big time sponsor for John Force for a good part of the 90s, and I should have known that as well. But we love that car. A couple of nice cars in this league. 13 of Josh Cottle always catches my eye. That gold trim, that twitch.tv/Jinx Pogs ONEwraps machine.
That's his Twitch name.
Very nice looking car. Total Advantage on the side. And then I believe what's the hood sponsor? Storm something. I can't see it. Let's see.
If the camera feels like changing, we can look at it. Okay, just does the wrong thing there.
Let's zoom in.
There's a lot going on in that car.
I like it. I am a huge fan of that car. Storm.
Oh, is that Storm?
Oh, it's Bowler.
It's Storm Bowling. Look at that. Wow,
yeah,
that's the first Storm car I've ever seen.
I had a Storm bowling ball before it split in half because my parents put it in the attic. So
yeah, Storm bowling balls that do that. But
yeah. Well, looks like we're 1 to go. Quick rundown of the lineup. Only 8 laps complete here at Rockingham. Dylan Wilson, your leader. Matt Kingsbury up from 7th to 2nd, thanks to the 3 drivers going to the back. The beneficiary of that one for sure. Spencer Dickinson in 3rd. Daryl McKee in 4th. Max Price from 13th to 5th in that 22 machine. Blake Reynolds all the way from the back into 6th. Casey Pierce on that tire save strategy in 7th position. Mason Maggio 8th. Seth Harrelson still in the top 10 in 9th. And Eric Wilson will round out the top 10. Pace truck going to momentarily come off here, and we hopefully have a green flag run in us here, Sean.
Well, green flag runs are very prominent here at Rockingham, especially in these cars. I mean, we saw just how hard they are to wreck. I mean, Ricky Harden took a lot of damage in that last caution. He's going to be fine. You're going to hear Guto in the background every now and then. The green flag is out. They stack up on the top lane. So that's going to let these guys go 3 wide. Here comes Mason Maggio through the middle through 1 and 2. He's looking to make moves.
Mason Maggio is never a stranger to being aggressive. There's 3 wide, exit of turn 2. Blake Reynolds, what an absolute run down the backstretch. Going to get around the Max Price machine. and he's going to set his sights on Daryl McKee as well. Blake Reynolds definitely our hard charge of the race at this point. Single file for the moment in the top 5, but that's going to be short-lived. Here comes Blake Reynolds on the inside to get underneath for 4th.
Blake Reynolds not wasting any time we've seen throughout this entire race, as here he goes, makes quick work of Daryl McKee as they head down the back straightaway. And Mason Maggio, we were talking about him very briefly. He's had a couple rough couple of races here as of late, but he's got a good top 10 run going so far, so we'll look to see what he can do as this race progresses. But just ahead, how about Max Price, another guy having a solid run, but just up front, Kevin, looks like Dylan Wilson's got himself a challenger for the lead off it too. It's Spencer Dickinson.
Yeah, Spencer Dickinson very fast in practice, fast again in qualifying, and he's backing that up here in the race, going underneath Dylan Wilson. But Dylan Wilson is making that high line work better than I would ever think here in 3 and 4. Going to concede the position to Spencer, so give the number 6 the lead for the moment, but I don't think it's going to be for long. Here comes Blake Reynolds on the outside of Matt Kingsbury for 3rd, and he's going to set his sights on the top 2 as he gets dead sideways. So does Matt Kingsbury, but Blake Reynolds is on the move. Started on the pole, but he had to go all the way to the back, but he's going to be back up front here any minute.
My favorite camera. Look at this. My favorite. We could do this with it too. We can zoom in with it.
Oh, that looks like the Days of Thunder style,
yeah.
or like the 90s and the late 80s, early 90s, where it was zoomed in. That was cool.
Also do this, get a bird's eye view of the Rockingham Speedway, the North Carolina Motor Speedway.
The Rock.
The Rock. Look what we got back here. We got Max Price. These guys are going at it right back here. This is a battle for 4th. Daryl McKee in that 56, just ahead of these guys. Here comes Seth Harrelson, a guy we haven't talked much about at all so far. He's trying to make that outside work on Mason Maggio.
Yeah, Seth Harrelson started 9th, currently up 1 spot from his original starting position in the 8th position. So Seth Harrelson trying to stay consistent. He's trying to get some luck on his side. We've noted many times in this league as they're about to make contact in front of a Mason Maggio and Max Price get into it entering turn 3, but they keep going. Very tough machines these 87 cars are. So they're going to continue on. Max Price going to have the position for the moment, but Mason Maggio still loose, especially in turn 1. I've noticed he pretty much does like a 4-wheel drift into turn 1. So those tires are going to be hurting after a while. Looking through the first 10 cars or so, single file for the moment, and it looks like Spencer Dickinson is opening up his lead a little bit here, Sean, about a half second over the 66 machine. So things calming down throughout the rest of the field. It looks like a couple guys have fallen back as well. Landon Huffman trying to crack into the top 10. He is in the top 10. He's in 10th. And then Casey Pierce all the way back from 2nd to 11th in that 18 car. And like we mentioned, Sean, I believe he's employing the tire save strategy. A lot of different methods of racing here, and I think he's going the conservative route, trying to save those tires for this long event.
I mean, it's probably going to pay off because, call me crazy, Kevin, but I think we're in line for a long run here. So we got our wreck out of the way. If we can go back on the the Total Advantage airship and take a look and see what's going on around this joint. And I'm seeing a lot of single file going on. Let's adjust the volume here because that is way too loud. There we go. Again, budget cuts hooded windshield deep have been very prominent this week, especially tonight again. So that's 2 races in a row. We apologize. But yeah, as we can see, it's pretty spread out right now across the whole speedway, but we never know, and that may change.
Not spread out right now is the battle for the lead. Here comes Blake Reynolds underneath Spencer Dickinson. Makes quick work of that 6 machine. That puts the 66 machine back to the lead. Started in the back thanks to the top 3 and the longest line rule that Windshield Deep has every event here for the ONEwraps Cup Clash. But only 20 laps into this event, Sean, Blake Reynolds back up front. A couple other guys trying to make their way through the field. Andy Trupiano had to start in the back. He's in 7th. Are you hearing contact?
I heard contact. Yep, you got a wreck on the back. It's Max Price in the 22. We stay green.
Tough break for that number 22 machine.
Let's get a replay.
They're trying to be pretty lenient here in Windshield Deep. If it's off track and out of the way, it looks like he just loses it on his own. Andy Trupiano has to avoid him.
Just got loose off it, too. I don't think he hit anything. He might have...
no.
He's able to keep going.
May have, I don't think they have, what's the word, flat spots on tires yet.
Not yet, no. I don't think so.
No. It might be a good thing. I don't know if the iRacing talent can handle that. But anyway, back to the front. Spencer Dickinson, I thought he was going to be pulled away by Blake Reynolds, but it looks like he's hanging on. These two are about a second ahead of the battle for third. Matt Kingsbury currently has that position. Dylan Wilson had the lead for the first 15 laps or so. He is now fallen back to fourth, and then Daryl McKee rounds out your top five. So a lot of comers and goers right now. Another guy currently losing some spots, that number 64 machine of Mason Maggio. I had a feeling that as this run would progress, that number 64 car would lose some ground. He was really pushing it in the first half of this run, and it looks like he's already starting to fall off.
Falling into the clutches of Matt Campbell here in the 49, but he has dropped back considerably from where he was. Got a little bit of right front damage on that car as well, so we're going to see if that comes into play later on. But right now, I think the closest battle we have in the field is going to be this one right now. Seth Harrelson and Landon Huffman. I think Landon just passed Seth for 8th. Landon, again, was one of the guys that had to start in the back due to his good finish. Don't worry about that smoke in turn 3. It's lag smoke, I checked. But it looks like, Kevin, these guys are starting to get a little loose in corner entry and maybe the center as well. So these things are not hard or easy to drive, I should say, at this point.
Yeah, unlike the current cars, the Gen 6, even the Xfinity cars, these cars are boxes. There is not a lot of side force to kind of hold you in the corner. So if you have that slip angle into the corner, you're pretty much killing that right side tire. You can see, if you go back to Seth Harrelson, he was all over the place entering turn 3 as we're looking at the Kingdom cars in the 56 and 51. But once this run progresses, you're going to see that more and more often. I think the setup trends loose, and typically the way iRacing works, if the setup trends loose, you either have to drive it very straight on entry and very straight on exit, or the tire wear is just going to get worse and worse for one specific tire, either the right front or the right rear. And it looks like this week is going to be the right rear tire. Seth Harrelson in the wall. As I mentioned, they're loose. He gets very tight off of turn 4. He's going to lose a lot of ground to Landon Huffman. He's going to have to concede that 8th position to Casey Pierce. So unfortunate event there for Seth Harrelson, but these cars are very, very resilient. He should be fine for the rest of the event.
Hopefully. So we saw with damage, these things can still maintain. So I'm looking at the speeds in the corners compared to the straightaways. We're hitting about 150 to 160 on the straightaways, and we're all the way into like the 115 to 120 range in the corners. So there's a lot of off-throttle time in these as well. I wish I had telemetry. I don't have that technology. I don't think my computer can handle it. But as we see, right behind Blake Reynolds, Spencer Dickinson kind of working that middle lane off the corner there. So I don't know if he's doing that on purpose in that South Fork Mulwork Chevrolet Monte Carlo, but who knows? Maybe he knows something we don't in that car.
Well, I think we both know that the line at this track can change a little bit, especially in 1 and 2, that diamond line. You enter low, you let it go about maybe a car width off the bottom. But in 3 and 4, you got to paint that yellow line, especially if you want to save tires. If you paint that yellow line, it kind of hooks, similar to how we see in the Cup Series for Atlanta Motor Speedway. You hook that bottom line. It's the same thing, same principle here. So you got to keep it as low as you can through 3 and 4. But in 1 and 2, if you can kind of point it straight, exiting, kind of hook the yellow on exit, you can get a big run off the corner instead of passing the 3 and 4s. Right now, looks like Matt Kingsbury trying to get his position back. He just conceded that spot to his teammate of Daryl McKee. So put Daryl McKee into the 3rd spot, put him in the podium at the moment in that 56 car. Working lap number 30. I'm sorry, Sean. I'm not used to you not saying anything.
I was about to say, not very many battles going on the racetrack right now. There's another close one back here. I mean, this is Drew Cox. Drew Cox in a new scheme. We haven't seen him in anything besides a Wonder Bread Ricky Bobby car, so that's good to see. That's Eric Wilson right in front of him in that number 4 machine, the Blondies machine there, and of course ONEwraps. By the way, if you guys haven't seen Dylan Wilson's super late model that he wrapped, be sure to check that out, because that is a slick looking machine. It looks very similar to this car actually right here, except it's red and black. So that is something to look forward to there.
Let's just say, if you like Dayglow Red, you're going to love that car. It is a very loud paint scheme. It is very cool looking. I believe it's a late model stock, but they're pretty much the same. I'm just being nitpicky, but
Thank you.
right now, the best battle is the one on your screen right now. Those Kingdom cars still pretty close. And funny enough, these guys are, even though they're battling for position, they are not really losing a ton of time to the leader. Still under a 2-second gap for that number 51 machine of Matt Kingsbury. Gets a little bit on that yellow line, does that hook, gets a little bit loose out of turn 2. So looks like Daryl McKee gonna try and pull away a little bit. But as we see, Sean, if you can run low here, as Kingsbury does, you get a pretty good run off the corner. And I think that's the way you got to do it. You got to get that run off the corner here, especially in these 87 cars. They don't have a ton of horsepower, and they're very heavy. So you got to get as much momentum as you can out of the corner to make a run.
Absolutely. And you'll see guys trying to find different lines to get those runs off the corners here especially. So you see a lot of guys right where these guys are, right on that yellow line. But you'll see guys like Spencer Dickinson, as we were talking about earlier, maybe searching for that speed off the corner, maybe try to run the middle and diamond it off the corner as the tires wear out. That could be a good way to get that run. But right now, it just looks like, from what I'm seeing, everybody's sticking right on that yellow line so far.
Looking a little bit further back, not a lot of action. The first big battle going to be for the 13th position. Eric Wilson running a pretty unconventional line in turns 1 and 2. Not sure if it's on purpose or not, but he's making it work in that in first and second corner. Runs the bottom for the most part in 3 and 4. But if he does it again, we'll have to see. He runs very low. I heard some contact, but I think we're good. I think we're going to go green. But he runs very hard. Oh, so there is someone off track. That is the number 56 of Daryl McKee, our current third place driver. He's going to be relegated way back. We'll have to see what happened to him. He looks like, did he just get loose? Seeing the sparks underneath the car, he disappears. Matt Kingsbury disappeared, and he's just in the wall. I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe, is it possible that the Matt Kingsbury car disappeared and there was still a collision with his teammate? That's really bizarre. I'm not quite sure what happened there.
Let's see what we can see from his point of view. So we can't see anything right now.
What in the world?
I don't know, man. He drifts up and then he's got to get it going.
Another note, a part of that incident, Matt Kingsbury was gone for at least 2 laps on track. He didn't lose any positions or any ground. It looks like iRacing was still counting him. We've had a bunch of issues with the internet the last few weeks on the iRacing server, so that's unfortunate that maybe Daryl McKee was involved in an incident that he literally could not see coming.
Oh.
So an unfortunate event for him, but we have more battles for position. Andy Trupiano has lost, it looks like, the 5th position to Landon Huffman. These guys are both on the way to the front from the rear of the field. Blake Reynolds is already in the lead, but these guys are trying to get up there as well.
Andy Trupiano, we saw how loose he just got off of turn 2 there. So we've gone, these guys are at about the 40 lap mark on their tires, when our leader Blake Reynolds is on lap 40 right now for his tires. So really crazy to see. This might be, I don't want to jinx it, but I probably will. This is one of the longer runs we've seen. We mentioned guys running the top. Dylan Wilson just running the top in 3 and 4. Maybe he's trying to search for something, but as we mentioned earlier, these guys might be looking for alternate lines once these tires run out, and Dylan might have been trying to do just that.
Something I'm noticing, and I'm not sure if it's a visual thing.
Oh, we got one around in the back stretch.
Who is that?
That's the 22 of Max Price.
Oh, Max Price again. He's already met that inside wall. At least
and that's
close to
the
it.
same spot. Let's see what happened again. That's the 2 of Jack Lauer that's right there with him. Did he just got loose off the corner? Did he hit the wall?
Same thing.
He just got loose.
You can see the groove that he's created going into that inside wall. That's unfortunate. He had a really good run. He was really aggressive early on in the race, but tough break for that number 22 machine. Just used those tires up, probably saving the car before, and just couldn't handle it that second go around. So he's going to be stuck in the pits, and he's already going to be 1 lap down. Put that 22 machine in the 19th position. Another tough break on pits as well is Davey Davis. He had to retire some 13 laps ago. He will finish in P20, 20 or 13 laps down at the moment. But right now, your current leader is Blake Reynolds. And something I was going to talk about before the number 22 machine had issues, Sean, is the pit delta here. Is we're having a pretty long green flag run. it might be a benefit to pit twice instead of pitting once under green, because the pit delta here is very short. It's a very short pit road. It's a very fast pit road relative to the track. So we might see some strategy if some guys in the back start to figure that out. If you can somehow pit twice and make up ground, you may come out with a victory.
So you're talking about the pit delta. Max Price just coming off the pit road now. I don't know why he's still on the apron. But he spent a total of 52 seconds, rounding up by a tenth of a second, getting onto pit road, getting to his stall, servicing the car, and exiting. So these guys are losing close to a minute if they were to pit under green. So that's going to be interesting to take into account as well. The pit road speed, very, very slow here at Rockingham. As we see Max Price back on pit road, 45 miles per hour, I believe, or is it 40? I think it's 40.
It looks like it is 40, so a little bit slower than before. I believe they did have it at 45, so that might not be as big of an advantage, but there's a lot of fall off right now. They're down into the 26.5s. Qualifying speeds was a 24.0 for the 66 machine, for example. He just ran a 26.553, so almost a 2.5 second drop off on the leaders. And then as you go further back, it's even more. These guys are running 26.3s, 26.2s, so these guys have actually picked it up a little bit, but still over 2 second fall off.
Landon Huffman got very tight off of turn 4. That's what kind of caught my eye there. But this is the closest battle we have on the track right now. And this is towards the front. You see the 7 car of Andy Trupiano there trying that line I was talking about. Try to get that run off the corner, but he just can't get the bite on that car to give him that run. And right now, these guys, that's another car for position up there, by the way. Matt Kingsbury in the 51 right here. So these guys are going to be all over each other as these tires start to wear out. And there's another guy right behind, as you mentioned, Kevin, Casey Pierce, starting to reel these guys in.
Yeah, a meeting of the strategies. Guys like Matt Kingsbury, super aggressive early on in this run. He's starting to fall off. Landon Huffman and Andy Trupiano trying to get through this field as fast as possible. Fast as possible. And then you got Casey Pierce, who saved his tires for a good bit of this first bit of the race, about 30 laps or so. He's finally starting to make his way to the front, and he's actually running pretty fast times comparatively. Ricky Harden just went berserk on the mic. Not sure what happened. Nothing, doesn't look like anything happened. So I think he's just going crazy.
He's just yelling. So
he's just having a good time. But as you said, Sean, I'm curious if the groove is moving up, because these guys are starting to move up a little bit, especially in 1 and 2.
Yeah, there you see it right there. Landon on the top lane just gets passed by Andy Trupiano. I think he was finally said, all right, Andy, I'll let you have it there down the backstretch. But we've seen, Kevin, I hate to say it, but I just don't think this track has a solid second groove yet. I mean, if you can make it work if you pinch somebody down, if you're getting past. Landon could have probably tried that for Andy, and you can maybe held him off, but it's just so one groove as we see Matt Kingsbury get loose here. So watch what Kingsbury does. We'll see if he tries to pinch Dylan down here and kind of show what I'm talking about. So into turn 3, Dylan has the preferred line to the bottom. Kingsbury washes up, and if you can get that straight run off as he does there, as Wilson gets a little loose, he's able to fend him off. But overall, over time, as this battle goes on, the bottom line is going to prevail as Wilson washes up a little bit. And that's why turn 1 here is so tricky. You have to brake so early to make it. And if you brake even a tick too late, as we're going to be 3 wide going into 3, that's not going to work. Landon thinks better of it, but if you're even as late on the brakes as Dylan was right there, you're going to wash up the track and open the door for others, as we see here, as here comes Landon to the inside.
What a great battle here for the 3rd position. Teammates, best friends, if you will. The 75 and 77 nearly get into it, going 3 wide into turn 3. These guys are still battling. But like you said, Sean, if this outside line can stay pinching that bottom, it's really hard to get a run. This track is very obscure, especially on the turn 2 exit. It kind of funnels pretty bad. It's almost similar to Dover.
Andy.
and Matt Campbell is also in the mix back there. He got dead sideways. But you can kind of see it when you go through the cameras here. It's a very late apex in turn 2. That's why these guys are exiting so low. So that bottom line is really important as Landon Huffman finally clears the 77 machine. Casey Pierce now up to 4th, but they're still battling for 5th. Andy Trupiano now trying to get underneath Dylan Wilson. Matt Kingsbury just trying to survive. And another newcomer to this mix is that 49 car of Matt Campbell. So a lot of good battles for position from 3rd on back. But right now, Sean, this is 7.8 seconds or behind Blake Reynolds, our leader. So he is loving this behind him.
Blake Reynolds last ran a 26.261. Spencer Dickinson has been, as I say that as he gets loose off of 4, but Spencer has been almost mirroring his times. He's going to be considerably off that time by, but I've been paying close attention, and Dickinson, the speed is there, but he just doesn't have the distance on his side. It's about a 2.7, 2.8 second margin. But if Spencer can reel off some solid lap times and get a good entry and exit to pit road, he might be able to reel a Blake in. But as we've seen time and time again in this league, Blake has just been usually dominant at these type of tracks. Oh, and Matt Kingsbury gets loose.
Car control is definitely something he's a master of, and the way this setup is, you definitely got to keep the rear end of the car underneath. These guys are all over the track. Kingsbury got loose out of 4. I'm still keeping an eye on that 6 machine. He is all over the track. He's still trying to maintain. He's now back 3.1 seconds behind our leader. We're going to keep focused on this battle for the 6th position between Kingsbury, Dylan Wilson, Andy Trupiano and company. This is going to be the closest battle, but we're getting pretty far in this run, Sean, and it looks like if you want to make this on one stop, you're probably going to want to pit here in the next 20 laps or so. Do you, as a driver, do you want a short pit? Is it something that you kind of have on your mind just so you can kind of leapfrog the field here, especially with how much faster it is? Or are you worried about those tires late in the run as Matt Kingsbury is still dead sideways? And we have contact. Something happened in the back of the field. It looks like something happened between Mason Maggio and the 35 machine of Brett Pancari, and something else is going on. Lyndon Huffman is going nuts.
Oh, wow.
Well, look at this. We'll look at this incident. Landon Huffman's still going berserk. It looks like Mason Maggio, another guy who was really aggressive on the initial start, does that right hook right in front of Pancari and collects the 35 machine. Tough break for both those drivers, but even tougher for Brett Pancari. Just nowhere to go there as we keep going green.
So Mason is back out on the track. So he came in and got his tires. So I guess we'll see. I mean, he's the first one, I guess, involuntarily to come in and get tires. So he's going to be your first car one lap down.
Sorry, Sean. We also had another incident about 2 or 3 laps ago. Spencer Dickinson was trying to pass the 15 of Ricky Harden, got loose out of turn 4 and spun into the infield grass from second. This was on lap 60, coming to lap 60, and he lost a considerable amount of time, was stuck on that infield grass for a long time. So he's going to lose second position and many more. He's in the pits now and exiting at the moment. But that's a tough break for that number 6 car, having a great run thus far. But that's going to be a tough break for him. I love these cameras, by the way.
They he just got loose off of turn 4, as we saw there. Didn't hit anything. He kept the tires rolling, but again, that's a tough break for Spencer. He also goes a lap down, so he is now the first car 2 laps down. So he's lost 2 laps. Brian Smith is your first car 1 lap down, and Drew Cox right here is the last car in the lead lap. So Blake Reynolds right now, I'm looking at the times and the data. He is on lap 63 of his first stint right now on his tires. So we've been talking about this. How long can these guys go on tires? And Blake is one of those guys. He does this in pretty much every league race he runs. He keeps saying he's going to wait as long as he can to pit. I think in the last FTF series race at Atlanta we just had, as Blake is still saving that thing, he went as long as he possibly could on tires. I think he's just drifting at this point. So let's go ahead and see how Blake is handling this thing on these tires. Let's see how much further right he's turning than he is left.
And he is wheeling in, especially out of the corner and in entering the corner. That number 66 machine is driving nasty. He just ran a 22.341. Behind him, Casey Pierce. Do I hear? It sounds like his right rear is down.
I don't hear anything.
I heard something. I think someone's tire is down. It might be that 66 car because he ran a 27.3. Casey Pierce just ran a 26.1. And I think I might be right because that 66 car is really off pace, and he's going to lose a ton of ground. He might have to come in and pit because they're at halfway at the moment.
Oh.
They're just about to take halfway. He might have to pit this time by. Casey Pierce now from 8 seconds back, he is now down to 4.8 seconds, and that gap is shrinking drastically. And he is still wrecking. He's coming in. There's no way. He's got to come in.
Yeah, he's coming in now, so there's no way Blake could have stayed out much longer on those tires. So that's going to hand the lead over to Casey Pierce. But Blake Reynolds, I gotta kind of take another gander at these saves here because Blake was just all over the place. Let's go on board again. Blake had some insane car control here. You hear just how off the throttle he is. Then the second he gets back into it, he is cranking that thing to the right. Going into turn 3 here. It's just going around on him the second he goes in the corner. So I think you might have been right, Kevin. That he definitely had some kind of puncture or something on that car as the right sides are down. And we'll see how much time he spends on pit road. Again, we saw about 52 seconds was the amount of time that these guys spend on pit road getting into their stall and getting out. And survey says for Blake, 49.3 seconds spent on pit road. So much better than some of the other times we've seen, but that is still a lot of time to lose. But you never know. It could cycle out in Blake's favor as Casey still has yet to pit. There you see Seth Harrelson coming out of pit road. Ricky Harden was coming out of pit road. But that's going to bring Casey Pierce and Landon Huffman to the front of this field.
Yeah, these guys staying on a little bit longer. Looks like they saved their tires a little bit better as Casey comes in. A couple other comers onto the pits was Andy Trupiano and Dylan Wilson the lap before. They decided to pit a lap early, maybe leapfrog these guys. But Casey Pierce, our provisional leader, will come in. Landon Huffman takes over the lead on lap 71. But we're going to keep an eye on the delta here for Casey Pierce to see his comparison to Blake Reynolds. Blake Reynolds has about 2 extra laps on those tires in comparison. But comparatively, in terms of times, Blake Reynolds' last lap was a 25.581. Definitely a lot. He's definitely babying it at the moment. But even so, that's over a second faster than what Casey was running before. So we'll have to see where he ends up. Right sides are up on that number 18 machine. No adjustments. 1 set left in this pits after this set of tires. So we'll have to keep an eye on that if they have a caution. But we're going to see if Landon Huffman can even survive here. He's got lap traffic around him. It looks like he's trying to get to the pits, but he can't. Spencer Dickinson all over the back end of him. If he slows down, he's going to get ran over. Casey Pierce does exit the pit safely, merges safely. We're going to have to see where he is in comparison to Blake Reynolds. But right now the focus is on that number 75 machine as he has lap traffic all over the place, and they're putting him between a rock and a hard place. He's probably trying to pit any second now, and he just has no choice but to let these guys go. So
you mentioned the delta. So Blake Reynolds was 49.3 seconds in and out of pit road total. Casey Pierce 50.4. So that just shows how important getting on and off of pit road is. So a lot of jobs to do by both driver and crew to get these cars in and out of the pits as fast as you can. And that little tenth of a second that Blake had on Casey might spell the difference in this race.
And, you know, this is something we've even witnessed and experienced as drivers. You could be right on the back end of somebody in the pits at the same time, but that extra half second that they get to roll off on the exit pit road can turn into a 2-second gap. So like you said, very important to get on and off pit road. And something we notice, at least I do for sure, is the pit range with the pit stop times could be as low as 18.8, but it could be as high as 23.5. So there's a lot of range that these guys could have in the pit. So if you have a great stop, you can gain a ton of time, but inversely, you could lose a ton as well. And it looks like between that and a couple hot laps for Blake Reynolds, he has pulled almost a straightaway lead on that 18 car.
Give a call to Josh Caudle here, currently sitting in second. He still has yet to pit, so Landon has yet to pit as well. He is stretching it as far as he could possibly go. So Landon is working lap 76 on his tires right now, and you could tell he's kept them in good shape because he and Blake Reynolds' tires are way different at this stage. But Landon trying to see as long as he can go on this tire. The longer he goes now, it's gonna benefit him on the long run because he'll have just that much more grip than everybody else that pits earlier than him. But how far do you stretch it if you're Landon? We got 58 laps to go now. You got to make up ground on these tires, and we've seen the front of the field is so competitive. It might be tough, and you never know if these tires are going to even out on you as you're trying to make your way through the field.
Well, I think that's something he's definitely banking on, is things kind of evening out. But I'm sure he's going to stay out here. He might pit here and prove me wrong, but something tells me he's going to stay out there as long as he can. Something that he'll probably keep an eye on is the stopwatch. It looks like, the tires start to wear out really bad. That's when you start seeing these high 26-second, low 27-second lap times. And I think he's going to keep an eye on that stopwatch and make sure he's under 26.5, 26.4. And once that starts to go away, he'll probably come in, because one thing he's not going to have to worry about if he stays out here as long as he does is he's not going to have to worry about that giant cliff that we saw Blake Reynolds hit. Blake Reynolds hit that with probably 62, 63 laps on those tires because of the caution before. So he's probably thinking about that right now, that if he pits even with 55 to go, he's got that extra 6, 8, 10 laps compared to someone like Blake Reynolds, who will have to worry about babying these tires. He's going to have to worry about hitting that cliff again and having to worry about someone like Casey Pierce or Andy Trupiano or Landon Huffman, for example, coming out and passing him in a quick manner.
55 laps to go here at Rockingham. There are 3 cars that have yet, well, 2 cars actually, that have yet to make their green flag pit stop. That is your leader, Landon Huffman. There he is going to turn 3. Josh Caudle right here, you see on your screen, going through 1 and 2 right now. And you will see, if I can zoom out a little bit further, because I have the power to do that. Not that it means anything. But you'll see off your screen way back there, that purple and white car. That is going to be Blake Reynolds back there. Brett Pancari is also being shown in 3rd, but Reynolds is reeling in these guys up here. So make sure to keep an eye on Blake. He's a lap down, keep in mind. So he did lose a lap, but I think Blake is far enough up that when this cycle's out, he's going to regain the lead. Landon Huffman coming onto pit road now. So he has 81 laps on his tires, and he just couldn't take it anymore. He's going to come in and get a fresh set of tires. But he's going to have probably 10 to 15 lap fresher tires than everybody else. So this could pay off. But the question is, how much ground can Landon cover to get up to the front with 52 laps to go should be when he gets back going.
Coming into the pits in that windshield deep machine, he will most likely go a lap down. But like you said, Sean, he's going to have a considerable advantage, not only on lap speed, but endurance on this set of tires. As they're running right now, Blake Reynolds will definitely come out as the leader once we see that number 13 machine of Josh Caudle pit. But Landon Huffman's going to have the considerable advantage in terms of being able to push it. Right now, Blake Reynolds is pushing it about probably 50% of what he wants. He was running 26.1s. That's pretty slow in terms of having the tires where they are. There's only about 10 to 15 laps on those things. And right now, that's allowing Casey Pierce to kind of close in the gap, basically chasing the rabbit, if you will, as that 18 car has the leader of, or will be the leader of, Blake Reynolds in front of him. But we're going to have to see where Landon Huffman's going to end up. I think he's going to be well over a lap down, and it looks like he is.
He is 1 lap down right now. Something to note, there are only 2 cars on the lead lap, and there is the last one, the 35 of Brett Pancari, currently sitting in 2nd position. He is the last car on the lead lap, so everybody from 3rd on back is a lap down. Josh Caudle, if he gets a caution, might have played this perfectly, so that's what he's betting on. He's working lap 85 on the current set of tires he has, but you never know. I mean, in windshield deep, if you guys have been watching this league for a while, it looks like Caudle's pitting now. So not going to get the caution he needs. So there's Blake Reynolds. You saw him. There he goes unlapping himself, and Casey Pierce right behind him. So, Kevin, this is probably, well, not probably, will be the battle for the win potentially once Brett Pancari pits.
Yeah, once Brett Pancari pits, this will cycle out to be the lead and the battle for the lead. But the one thing I'm a little bit worried about Casey is I think he knows he has those extra 2 or 3 laps on those tires, but we've seen in this car, you can save that back. You can kind of stay for about 10 to 20 laps and make up the tire wear. As Blake Reynolds runs really low, and Casey's going to hit the wall. He does hit the wall, catches the right side of that car and nearly flips it in turn 1 and 2. That's a tough break for Casey. Unforced error in that ONEwraps machine. That's going to set him back considerably behind this battle for the win. Tough break for Casey. As I was just saying, he might have been going a little bit too hard trying to get around that 66 machine, and he makes a mistake entering turn 1, nearly spins it. He keeps it going, but he has lost a considerable amount of ground to that number 66 machine, well over 4 seconds behind the 66.
He also lost 4 positions rather, with that 18 machine. That's a tough break. I guess he just got crossed up. I think Blake was actually letting him go, and Casey just got all tripped up and ended up hitting the wall. So that is very unfortunate. But this thing isn't over yet. Brett Pancari is your leader right now. So there he is, currently sitting. I'm going to prove it right now. That's a lap times. There you go. So he's your leader right now. It's not... He still can go longer on his tires. Remember, he had that incident that forced him to pit early. So he can probably go a little bit longer. The question is, how long can he go? He's got a 19-second lead on Blake Reynolds. And up here he comes. I'm just going to stop talking now. Oh! As he locks it all up. So that is effectively going to hand the lead over to Blake Reynolds. So here he comes down the back straightaway. This lead is going to be erased by Brett Pancari. But again, Blake, I'm showing most effective coming in and out of pit road. 49.3 seconds. No one else even really close to that mark that took 4 tires.
I mean, we've seen that in our fair share of NASCAR races. People who can enter onto the pits really aggressively and exit aggressively. They even showed a little bit of innovation last night at Atlanta. You can gain and lose so much time, and I think that's been the difference for the number 66 machine of Blake Reynolds. He's got about a 3-second lead over the guys behind him. Actually, it's closed up pretty considerably. It was before 3 seconds, but it looks like Andy and Matt are pushing right now to catch that number 66 car. But another guy that I'm honestly surprised he's only this far behind. Landon Huffman is only 3.5 seconds behind the 66 car, Blake Reynolds. He has easily the best tires in this top 5, and he's going to be someone we're going to have to watch as far as the lap times are concerned. Blake Reynolds' last lap, still running a very conservative pace, 26.350. That's something they were running at the very tail end of the run. Landon Huffman is now in 4th position. He just ran a 25.7, under 3-second gap right now for the lead. So here comes Landon Huffman out of turn 2, and he's catching them fast.
He is. So this is going to get interesting. So lap traffic could play a factor in this. I really enjoy these long green flag runs in this league, by the way. We need more of it. But Blake Reynolds currently passing... Well, I think he might actually be getting passed by Brett Pancari here. That's going to hold him up even more, as Brett Pancari has those fresher tires, as we just saw. But man, this is going to be interesting. Here comes Pancari. Let's see how much he holds up Reynolds. And if I'm Blake Reynolds, I hold the bottom and try to let him go to the top and just pass me. But that's going to let Andy Trupiano get to the picture. But there's Landon Huffman, right? That blue and white car at the top of your screen. He has by far the freshest tires out of all these guys. And Kevin, I think this is Landon's race to lose at this point.
I think you're right. And wow, Brett Pancari is flying right now.
He is.
And you know, that actually might pan out well for him that he got wrecked, because he's going to be, I think he's going to be a contention for a top 10. But going back to the battle for the lead, Andy Trupiano at the moment has his sights set on that 66 car, but he's going to have to play defense at the same time, going underneath the lap car of Jack Bailey. He's going to worry about that number 49, that big green machine behind him of Matt Campbell. This is going to be a dogfight for the lead. Andy Trupiano blocks the 49 car all the way to the bottom line, holds that second position for right now. Blake Reynolds takes advantage of that, gets about a 2-car length gap, but that's going to be evaporated quickly as they go into 3 and 4.
All these sparks coming out of the bottom of these cars, but there you see that white car right behind the green car here of Matt Campbell. That's Landon Huffman. So he is coming. I think he's got plenty of time too. 39 laps to go. With the amount of tire he has compared to the rest of these guys, I don't think there's any way he loses this race unless there's a late caution.
Yeah, and it's something that I'm just kind of observing myself. Blake Reynolds kind of turned it up a little bit. He's still running 26s. He just ran a 26.2, but I think he's minding the gap, as they say. He's kind of keeping an eye on these guys behind him. He just ran a 26.0, so he's definitely turning it up just a little bit, worrying about the lap traffic, minding the traffic behind him, and I think he's going to try and maintain this gap as best as he could. He might not have to worry about it too long, but here comes Landon Huffman. He has now entered the mix. As we mentioned before, 3.5 seconds, about 4 or 5 laps to go. He has now closed it to 0.9 of a second. Going to set his sights first on that Matt Campbell machine, but Landon Huffman on the move as we have 37 to go this time by.
Let's see the lap times here. So Landon Huffman last time by ran a 26.015, and we go to Blake Reynolds at 26.253. So Landon a little over 1/10 of a second faster than these guys. Plenty of time to get through them. But how aggressive are these guys going to be with the blocks is the question. Is Trupiano and Campbell going to let him by that easy? And if they don't, what factor will it have on Landon's tires when he gets to Blake? Because Blake, in this battle for Landon, you could say is the final boss of this little game they're playing. But right now, Landon's got to get by the first and second levels of Matt Campbell and Trupiano, and now he's working on Campbell into 3.
Dare I say, is this the Elite Four of the race?
Here we go.
Nice Pokemon reference. Landon Huffman going underneath Matt Campbell. That's going to be for 3rd. And something I'm kind of pondering, like I mentioned before, Sean, it seems like these tires equalize in terms of speed, but there's a massive cliff. We saw that on the first run with Blake. He was running 27-second laps at the very tail end of that run. If I'm Landon Huffman...
Oh, Ricky Harden!
Oh, no! Ricky Harden into the 66. He gets sent to the inside wall, back to the outside wall. Caution is out. And surprisingly enough, I think the 66 is pretty clean there. That was a tough break for him to lose the lead, but luckily enough, it looks like that 66 car is fairly unscathed for the most part. Tough break for Blake, but that could have been significantly worse as caution is out for the 3rd time.
Oh, Landon is not happy on the radio right now. Let's see if we can get a brief... Let's see if we get a replay. Ricky I think just brought it into the corner way too hard. Oh, man, that's a tough one. So it looks like Ricky just drove it in there too hard.
Yeah, he's just throwing it. It looks like he also just did not enter the corner soon enough. He entered very high, all things considered, right in front of the leaders. By the way, all the leaders on the pits, you're not missing anything there. All 4 tires and fuel for the entire field. But looking at Ricky Harden, just got really loose, and he tried to bring it back and correct it back to the right side, but unfortunately the momentum of the car just took it. And then Blake Reynolds nearly collects the 49 of Matt Campbell. Great evasion by Matt Campbell there and the rest of the field. Looks like Casey Pierce and Jack Bailey also had to avoid that 66 car. So that could have been a lot worse for a lot of parties. But it looks like Blake Reynolds at this point will be in 6th position after the incident with a little bit of right side damage. But by all means, he could very well be in contention still for this win.
So if my scoring doesn't deceive me, we have a new leader.
Is it Brett Pancari? It is Brett Pancari. So I mean, I think he's out of tires, so I think that's his. Unless he's pitting here. I hope he's not pitting. That would be cool.
He is.
Might have been the right call. I mean, in terms of the long term, but I would have loved to see if he could maintain. He only had 12 laps on his tires, and it seems like they do equalize for the most part. So, and they're showing the tire readings right now, and I kind of was right in the matter. It looks like Blake was significantly saving comparatively to Andy Trupiano. 76-73 on the right sides for Andy, 84-82 for that 66 car. So he was 100% saving, and he pitted earlier. So he was doing a very good job of maintaining the tires on the 66 car. But unfortunate for him, Ricky Harden had something to say about that. He's going to have to go from 6th, maybe even further back. He is actually now showing on my screen 13th position, Sean. So he's going to have to get his way through the field yet again, and very late in this race.
So Blake is, he had a couple of guys pit, so he's currently being shown in 11th on mine. So there he is. But I can't, can I get this? I can't turn the chat off. I can't turn them off. Hold on. Let's try this.
I wonder if they heard what I heard. That was certainly something.
I can't turn it off. Okay, it's muted, I think.
Okay.
Unreal.
It's okay. Maybe it's not okay, but it is what it is.
Budget cuts here at Windshield Deep. So we're showing Matt Campbell is your current leader. So the left side of your screen is the current running order. You got Campbell, Casey Pierce up there, Andy Trupiano. Don't count out Andy Trupiano. We're making a big commotion about Landon. He is just as fast as these guys. I mean, he's not the 2-time Windshield Deep champion for a reason. For no reason, I should say. So keep an eye on Andy there. But a lot of competitive cars up at the front of this field. Matt Campbell, Casey Pierce, Andy Trupiano, Matt Kingsbury with a good run. There's Landon again. Seth, I don't want to jinx Seth Harrell. Somebody's up there in 6th. Dylan Wilson, Spencer Dickinson, Josh Connell, and Drew Cox will round out the top 10. But Kevin, we're going green. We're about to hit 30 to go.
approaching the last 10% of this 135 lap event. 30 to go this time by. Pace truck ducks off very aggressively. Matt Campbell commands this race and the inside line race car of 49, number 49 race car, finally up in the front for the first time, and he's going to finally have, yes, I'm fine. He's going to have clean air on that number 49 car, and he's going to take advantage of it. Gets a huge lead on the number 18 car of Casey Pearson. They're going to single file out for the moment from third on back, and now Landon Huffman single files off as well.
I got to make sure I turn the caution. There we go. So I need a green
bar.
It
was
bar
yellow
there.
For a long time, but I thought, it looks okay. It's fine.
Yeah, whatever. It fits the numbers.
Needs an event. Needs an event version so it triggers it.
But how about this? Matt Kingsbury looking underneath Landon Huffman. Landon might be trying to save his tires from what he has now, so he has something at the end of this run. As we know, Rockingham just eats tires. But look at Dylan Wilson. We haven't talked much about him in the latter portion of this race, but there's a guy we're talking about all race, Blake Reynolds, not wasting any time. As we said, restarted in 11th. He's currently up to 6th.
Yeah, Dylan Wilson. Oh, Blake Reynolds very sideways into turn 1. As I was about to mention, Dylan Wilson led the first 15 laps of this race. He's trying to get back into the top 5. But Blake Reynolds right now is the story. Started 11th on this restart. He is now already up into the 5th position. Already trying to work on the number 75 machine of Landon Huffman. We thought these two were going to be battling for the lead and for the win as this race transpired if we had that green flag run. But right now they're going to be battling for 4th. Not seeing a lot of action up front. Casey Pierce and Andy Trupiano also close together, but there's not a confirmed battle there. Casey Pierce gets a little bit loose. Here comes Andy on the inside line, but they're going to think better of it, and they're going to mirror each other through 1 and 2 as Matt Campbell has now opened up a 6/10 of a second lead as Andy goes low.
Spencer Dickinson looking to make his way up through the field as right now Blake Reynolds all over the back as we have a pass being made. Andy Trupiano to the inside of Casey Pierce. He'll take over that spot. So Casey might be trying to keep his tires for the latter portion of this race. Is just behind them. We got a big wad back here. There's Dylan Wilson, Matt Kingsbury back there. 2 side-by-side battles as they head into turn 3. But Dylan Wilson able to hang on to the 6th spot.
These guys are definitely not saving tires. They're in the 24-second bracket as we hit 25 laps to go this time by. Matt Kingsbury all over the back end of Dylan Wilson looking to rebound from being in the top 5. He's now fallen all the way back to 7th looking to advance. Behind them, it looks like Eric Wilson dead sideways with Mason Maggio. They keep it going. But things settling out up front. Andy Trupiano trying to catch our leader, Matt Campbell, currently 0.8 of a second behind. Last lap for Andy, 25-126. Now a 1.88 for him. And the leader just ran a 1.32. So Matt Campbell is slowly but surely opening up this gap. But we may see it close back in, Sean. We've seen that many times here in Windshield Deep. Someone abusing their tires early in a run, and then they immediately lose it as it goes on.
Well, fastest guy on the track last lap was this guy, Landon Huffman, with a 25.003, fastest lap by far of everybody in the top 5. And there he goes by Casey Pierce. Casey, I know what he's doing, and he's trying to keep the tires on it, but at the same time, you'll have better tires, but you don't want to drop too far back and go into the clutches of guys like Blake Reynolds, as he is now, and have to use your tires back up to get to the front. So it's a slippery slope here at the tire saving game, but none better that do it other than Blake Reynolds. And Casey Pierce has a mirror full of Blake Reynolds as he head into turn 1.
Yeah, he let that 75 machine of Landon Huffman by pretty easily. I don't think he's going to do that with Blake Reynolds. He does think that incident in turn 1 had something to do with that 66 car pretty much forcing him to go around him on the outside. And I don't think Casey liked that very much. Still has that right side damage. So I think the tire saving is going to be pretty much over with that number 18 machine. I think he's going to start pushing it. Blake Reynolds is a little bit loose off turn 4. He's trying to get underneath that 18 car. Doesn't do it yet. Down into turn 1, about a half car width off. Gets that nice run. Goes back low on the O-line. Tries to get a nice momentum. Pulls ahead on Blake Reynolds by about a car length. Things starting to get dark here. I think we're about to have a thunderstorm warning here at Rockingham.
Some weather moving in.
Yeah, a little bit ominous weather off turns 3 and 4. But looking up front, here comes Andy Trupiano. We talked about Landon Huffman being the fastest car on track. Andy Trupiano has also turned it up a little bit. 25.590 for that 7 machine, 6.63 for Landon Huffman, and Matt Campbell just ran a 25.7. So these guys behind him are catching him, but Andy's catching him the fastest.
There, your top 3 right there is the interval. Landon Huffman has been flying, but all 5 of these guys have a realistic shot at winning this race. So don't count either of these guys out. 19 laps to go this time by, and right now it's anybody's ball game up at the front as Blake Reynolds is just all over the back of Casey Pierce through 1 and 2.
Casey Pierce still trying to play defense against Blake Reynolds. Has that 4th position right now, and coincidentally, he's also running very fast lap times while doing it. He's only about 1.47 seconds behind our leader. So like you said, Sean, even though he's playing defense, Casey still very well has a shot to win this race. And it looks like he's still trying to save. He's not really whipping it into the corner. It looks like Blake is doing just that. He's very loose entering and off the corner. He is losing a ton of time exiting. And it looks like Casey's just trying to mind his tires still. We got 18 laps to go, but we've seen how much tires matter. He's hooking that yellow line. But we're going to have to see, as Andy Truppiano is gaining quickly on Matt Campbell, we're going to have to see how badly these tires wear, especially that right rear of these guys. Matt Campbell is whipping it right now into turn 1, and he's losing ground to Andy.
Andy Truppiano stalking the rear bumper of Matt Campbell. And I was saying earlier, Andy is not a slouch at these tracks whatsoever. Rockingham is what we call a driver's track, and Andy Truppiano, again, 2-time WDRL champion, knows what he's doing around here. Low line racing on the car, a lot of good big name drivers, even in the Coke Series on low line and Pro Series. So Andy, no slouch, and he is just picking them up and putting them down in lap times. Comparison, a 961 to a 969, so these guys are very evenly matched. We might have a hell of a finish coming our way.
Andy Truppiano trying to close that gap. Lap traffic in front of the 49 car of Matt Campbell. That's Jack Bailey. He will be going a 3rd lap down, nearly gets into Matt Campbell, but they get around him safely.
Oh, Campbell!
Oh, 35. Something happened. Something happened in the back. I'm not sure what happened. I heard contact.
It's Spencer Dickinson.
Spencer Dickinson.
What happened to Spencer?
Leader. He was our leader at one point. He was running 8th before this incident, and it looks like something significant happened here. We'll get a replay.
It's the
he
same
just slaps
thing.
The wall.
He did that
Yep,
earlier.
slaps the wall.
Oh, and he's
Sorry if we've shown this replay before, but it is a separate incident.
Oh.
And he aggressively hits that inside line, hits inside wall. No safe for barrier down there, so that's a tough hit for that machine of Spencer Dickinson. Focusing back on the leaders, Andy Truppiano down to under a 1/10 of a second. And I was going to mention about Andy. He's someone we don't necessarily, he doesn't make a lot of noise, but he is 2 things, and that is quiet and consistent. He is probably the most consistent driver in this league. Doesn't have a ton of win, but he has the results. As Andy Truppiano is making that 49 car loose in 1 and 2.
Andy goes to the apron to try to get the run off the corner. Here he comes down the backstretch. Is he going to send it into turn 3? Not yet, but look just off of your screen right behind them. Landon Huffman, Casey Pierce, and Blake Reynolds are there as Truppiano gives him the bumper off the corner. To the inside he goes. This is for the lead. Is he going to have the fender on him into turn 1? It doesn't look like it, but Truppiano's got the inside, and it's all but done with this battle, as Truppiano's got to make this pass in quickly because here comes the cavalry behind them.
Oh man, Landon Huffman gained a ton of time, was only 0.7 of a second behind before. He is now under a 1/4 of a second behind. It takes that 2nd position from Matt Campbell quickly. Matt Campbell falling off drastically. But behind Landon, you got Casey Pierce and Blake Reynolds. Blake Reynolds nearly turns the 18 machine. Casey has to overdrive the corner to avoid incident, and he nearly gets into the side of that 49 car as he's just trying to get out of the way at this point.
Is Blake going to try to split him?
We may have an incident here very well and soon, as Blake Reynolds trying to be aggressive. Going to be 10 laps to go this time by. These guys all under a second, and Blake Reynolds is still trying to be aggressive. Get underneath that 18 machine of Casey Pierce.
10 laps to go here at Rockingham. Bring this track back already, NASCAR. We
Please.
Love to see this. Blake is finally able to make the pass on Casey Pierce, but is it too late? We've seen Blake do some superhuman things in this league. He's going to have to do another one, barring a caution. But up front, Landon Huffman, both 2 of the very big list of heavy hitters in this league. Landon Huffman and Andy Truppiano. Always comes down to these guys at the end of the season in the point standings, and it's going to come down to these guys barring any unusual circumstances in this race. But Landon right now, last time by, just a tick slower than Andy Truppiano. So if Landon wants to pass Andy, he's going to have to find something. But right now, that number 7 machine is the car to beat as they head off at turn number 4. 8 laps to go now.
3 Goliaths of this series in the top 3. 2-time champion of Andy Truppiano, 7-time winner of the series, Landon Huffman, and then the ringer himself, the Coke Series driver of Blake Reynolds, trying to get back to the front. 26.04 for him, 0.94 for Landon Huffman, 0.61 for Andy Truppiano. So these guys are within a 0.5 of a second But right now, the consistency is paying off for Andy Trupiano. He is pulling away from that 75 car, and he is now over 0.4 of a second ahead of Landon Huffman.
Going to try to keep all these guys in the center of your screen so you see the interval. There's Casey Pierce as well. Again, any one of these guys can win this race. You never know what could happen in this league. We've seen lap cars take the leaders out and all types of other stuff happen, so it is not over by any stretch of the imagination. But Trupiano giving a little bit more of a gap to Landon Huffman, almost a full tenth and a half faster than Landon that time by. And unless a caution comes out, Trupiano might have this one in the bag.
Only driver within the top 5 that was in the O's, Andy Trupiano. Matt Campbell also in that 5th position, so he's trying to rebound back. But comparatively, like you said, that Landon Huffman machine over a tenth behind. Oh my God, these guys are getting really loose. Landon Huffman loose, Casey Pierce loose, Blake Reynolds all sideways on the exit of turn 4. And something I'm noticing that 75, he is very tight entering turn 1. I don't know if he's having to let it drift up the track to save it or he's very tight, but he is losing a ton of ground, especially in 1 and 2. 3 and 4, not so much, but that number 7 car has a pretty wheel through 3 and 4, keeps it on that inside line. Is behind Landon, he is all over the track, that number 66 machine.
Well, we saw it earlier when Blake was drifting through every single corner almost. He's still turning right considerably. Let's get a look at the hands in Blake's car. Andy has a little bit of a moment off of turn 2. He's able to keep it going. But let's see. Tires are big here, as we all know. So let's see how much Blake has worn his. There you see the back end looking to kick out on that car. Still kicking out on that car as they are fighting these things tooth and nail to get around the Rockingham Speedway. But right now, the guy who's doing it the best is Andy Trupiano, but Landon Huffman gets a little bit tight there and loose at the same time, and 1 and 2 washes up the track, and he's going to have Blake Reynolds to deal with before this thing's over.
Might have a battle for second as Andy Trupiano sets sail for the lead and potentially the win. 2 laps to go this time by. But we're going to keep a focus on second. Landon Huffman trying to play defense on Blake Reynolds. Right now, Blake Reynolds is faster by about half a tenth. Drives it into turn 1. He is sideways, but he is somehow gaining ground on Landon Huffman. 4-wheel drifting underneath that 75 machine.
Woo!
Thanks, Jarvis. As he's trying to get second, there's smoke on the track, but I think we're going to keep going green. But Landon Huffman keeps that bottom line and plays defense on Blake.
White flag is out. 1 lap to go here for Andy Trupiano here at the Rock. Blake Reynolds still sliding off of turn number 4. But Trupiano has clear sailing. But as you said, Kevin, the big battle right here is going to be for second. Who can control their car the best?
Andy Trupiano through 1 and 2 for the final time, over a second ahead of this battle. Landon Huffman pulls Blake Reynolds slightly on the exit of turn 2. He's going to keep it on the bottom, but Blake Reynolds is going to send it going through 3 and 4 for the final time. Andy Trupiano going to come out in the final time, and he's going to win here at Rockingham. Behind him, Landon Huffman settles for second. Blake Reynolds spins across the line for third. 4th position will be Casey Pierce, and your top 5 will be Matt Campbell as well. But a great race at the end here. We saw tire strategy come into play, and we saw handling come into play. What a performance by all these guys up front.
Blake Reynolds just driving that thing to the very end. So he's able to keep that thing going, so he will settle for third. But, man, what a drive by everybody. Andy Trupiano drove a great race. He's going to do some celebratory donuts here on the front straightaway. Well-deserved.
Like I said, Sean, very consistent in that 7 car. He is someone we always talk about being at the end of these races, and for the most part, he's in that top 3 as someone almost just murdered him on the front stretch.
Nice.
But he's going to come away with the victory, his 2nd victory of the year, I believe, in that number 7 machine. We'll hope to get an interview. He's always a great interview, very calm, cool, and collected in that 7 car.
Very quiet.
Very quiet. Like I said, quiet and consistent are the 2 things I describe that number 7 car. He is not quiet, but he is consistently a pain in the ass. Looking at the leaderboard, Andy Trupiano, your winner.
Oh, my God.
Just do it. Just do it.
All right. I'll go ahead and do it. There's your winner, Andy Trupiano. Wins the race tonight. Landon Huffman will finish second. Blake Reynolds crosses the line sideways in third. Why don't we bring Blake in? He's sitting there in the waiting room. Blake.
Hello.
What in the hell were you doing at the end there? You were all over the place.
Well, that's what happens when you have a damaged car trying to do what you can. Used up the rest of my tires. We only had that one last set, so I used the rest of them. I think if I had not gone so hard there on the restart. Maybe I could have had something there at the end, but P3's not something to be mad about. I am kind of mad. I think I had a good shot of. I was saving my tires real good before that caution. Not very happy with Ricky Harden. He didn't seem to be very coherent. I had been told he was drinking.
Oh,
So,
that's not good.
Yeah. But it's whatever. This is a fun league, and we're having fun out here. So
would you say he
good win
put
to
you
Andy.
hard in the wall?
Not really.
No, he didn't put me in the wall. He just spun into my right side, but
Hard in the car?
yeah, so that definitely hurt my turn at the end. I could not, like, any turn I had at the beginning that I could get to that yellow line, just rotate. I didn't have any of that at the end. I don't know. Either the track changed or that was the aero damage. It's just unfortunate. A fun race overall, though. It's always good to race at Rockingham. I know you both are big fans of this place. And,
No, we hate this
it's
place.
good. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, it's fun to race these cars at a track like this.
Well, Blake, anyone you want to give a special shout out, a big thank you, maybe want to have some harsh words with after this thing before we let you go find Ricky Harden?
I think I've said my piece, but I'll thank everyone at Windshield Deep, RJ Williams especially. What a sweetie he is. That's about it.
All right, Blake. Well, thank you very much for your time today. Good run as always, and try not to search too hard for Ricky. I'm sure he's leaving the track as we speak.
That's fine. I'm sure we'll be fine next week. I'll be over it.
That's Blake Reynolds, everybody. And Kevin, I think as the lead, you get to interview the winner.
Hopefully Jarvis lets me do it. Andy Trupiano, are you there, my friend?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, we got a
All
mic.
right, first time for everything. All right. Well, Andy, we talked about you pretty much the entire night, but you were pretty quiet there the first 2/3 of the event, settling, in the 5th to 7th position. Tell us about how you had to save your tires tonight. We noticed that there was a lot of fall off here at Rockingham. Tell us about that, and then tell us about how you had to manage those tires at the end there.
How about one question at a time, Kevin? Jeez.
It's all good. There was a ton of tire wear. I really kind of missed the balance the first run a little. I ended up burning off the right rear, and I'm not sure if you caught it on camera, but I almost wrecked it off a 2 there. So yeah, I am lucky I didn't ruin my day there, but I made it through. And that last run, I was just able to nail the balance, and between, pushing and saving tires, it was able to pay off for me.
Yeah, man. Well, one thing we both noticed here up in the booth that these cars tonight were very loose, very uncharacteristic to what we've noticed in the past at Rockingham. Is that something that we kind of just noticed the way you guys were driving it, or was the setup that way? What was going on there, especially late in the run?
Oh yeah, it burnt the right rear off. I enjoy that style of racing, so I appreciate it. It's a pleasant change.
Well, Andy, you were the points leader going into tonight, and I was telling the guys and the people watching the event, two things describe you probably better than anything, and that's quiet and consistent. And you're doing that this year. You got 3 wins on the year through 9 races, and you're the point leader, man. Do you think you can go 3 for 3 here in Windshield Deep and get a 3rd championship?
Oh yeah, I definitely think I can. I'll see how the last few races play out here, but I think I can pull it off.
Love the confidence. I love to hear that from you. That's awesome. We'll let you have the mic here. Who do you have to thank for tonight?
I'd like to thank DM Software Development, Top Gun Athletics, Lowline Racing, and everybody over at Windshield Deep for doing this, and also you guys, because I always enjoy going back and watching these broadcasts.
Don't watch this
job,
one.
so.
Don't watch this one. It's very bad.
Thanks Sean twice. He is pulling double duty tonight. No producer tonight, and Sean did a fantastic job. And he's doing his best. So if you watch it and you see some hiccups in the action, it's because of that. But he's doing an absolute best.
Hey, all right, I will keep that in mind. Good job.
All right, Andy, have a good one.
Good win, Andy.
You
Good
too.
job, man.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Well,
I cannot believe he had that much confidence. That is something I did not expect him. I thought he was going to be a little bit humble there, but I love to hear that from that number 7 machine. RJ has made it into the booth.
I moved RJ.
How you doing, man? I don't know how that happened. I guess Sean decided to drag you in.
We haven't
but
talked to him all race.
That's true. We didn't have a lot of cautions, RJ. I think that's a good thing for you. You didn't have a lot of work tonight.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty damn good race there. It was a lot of fun to watch. You know, the guys working their tower strategies there. That was pretty fun to watch. Good racing.
You know, this is just an idea for maybe next season, especially with, you know, the improved racing grooves. Maybe you guys go to bigger tracks because it seems like the racing is a little bit cleaner at the big tracks. You know, we keep going to places like Five Flags and having 20 cautions. Maybe we go to a place like Michigan or Atlanta again. I think Atlanta would be great. That was a great race in season 1. I think
Whose
you guys should
league
bring
is
that
it,
back.
Kevin? Are you just throwing out?
I'm making suggestions.
Okay.
I am doing.
I'll be honest, I don't disagree with you. I think we need to be putting on good racing, but then again, we need to, you know, live through the short tracks as well. So maybe we can find a little bit better balance as well.
Well, Rockingham is kind of like a bigger type of short track.
I agree, 100%.
Like this, Iowa is a similar kind of track.
Richmond's coming up on the schedule. That's a great example. New Smyrna's next week. I'm excited for that.
It's almost like we're going to tracks made for these cars.
Who'd have thunk it? Oh man, but RJ, we want to get you in here. What are your overall thoughts, opinions about this race? I thought it was a pretty damn good race.
Oh yeah, it was great driving by everybody. This was the core group here, so I mean, this is what makes a league, is what we saw here. So, you know, when the same guys race each other every week, you know, everybody understands each other and races as such. So, you know, that's what we saw tonight.
Kevin has been fired from Windshield Deep for suggesting larger racetracks. Kevin, this is a short track brand. We're not running Talladega every week.
I didn't say run Talladega. I mentioned a couple of speedways.
Kevin wants us to go to Auto Club, chat.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
Better than running linear twice.
I'd rather run linear 5 times over than Auto Club.
Okay. Fair enough.
Landon, you're the only one to make it into the booth and on the podium finishers and not get interviewed. So I'm glad you stumbled on in here.
Yeah, I had to pee.
What else is new? I literally went into your stream today and the chair was empty. I'm like, yep, that's a typical Landon Huffman stream. But
man,
what a scam!
I thought I had them. I don't know. I had them outsmarted. I had like 10% more tire when that caution came out than all of them, and I was right on their bumper. I don't know. I have this newfound ability to save my tire thanks to my new Thrustmaster wheel. I don't know. I've never been able to save my tire
or anything.
It's probably true as well.
It's actually pretty accurate. Normally, I'm the one blowing a tire, but I don't know. It was a really fun race. We had some great battles, and hopefully, you guys had a blast doing what you're doing.
Oh, this was great. Fantastic race.
You know, we finally got to see some green flag racing, Landon, and I tell you, it really let us spread our wings a little up here. You know, it really let us call the action instead of trying to fill time under caution.
It's a rarity in Windshield Deep Racing League, so I'm glad everybody watching got to really experience some long green runs. Because where do we go next week?
New Smyrna.
Oh yeah, we'll have a caution every 10 laps.
That's our true home.
That's
track.
our home
like
track.
We're like 10 minutes away from that place.
Don't disappoint us next week at New Smyrna. We need some good racing.
Expectations are not very high.
They're high in our camp now, RJ. We
know who you're talking to, right?
Unbelievable.
Man. Dylan, would you like to say a few words before we proverbially end our coverage here tonight?
Oh, Jesus Christ, we're still alive?
We are still live, yes.
Oh, Lord.
Crisis averted.
Just thanks to Razzle Dazzle Strip Club down in good old, where do we race at tonight? Rockingham. Down in old Rockingham. Good place, real nice, fine establishment. Shout out to them.
Betty Blue, she was our she gave the invocation and the command tonight.
And she wore Betty Blue 12-inch heels. Love her. That's about all I got to say about that.
Unreal. All right, well, I think that'll conclude everything on that note tonight as we leave, taking a look at the Gobbler's Knob deer camp machine of Dylan Wilson on the screen. But good show tonight, guys. Thank you all for watching, and we will see y'all next. We are doing it next week, right? We're not bailing on them again.
Actually, I think next week we're off because Landon will be on his honeymoon, right?
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
Yeah, so we're going to do an all-star race, and I think it's going to be at Eldora, so... Or not Eldora, sorry, Bristol Dirt.
I was about to say again.
No, Bristol Dirt possibly, or maybe the short. What's
Oh
the
my God.
Japanese?
Okayama or some shit.
The scuba.
Scuba circuit.
Scooby Doo circuit.
The Nürburgring.
I don't know. We're gonna do something. We'll have something going on.
All right, well,
Alrighty.
follow the Windshield Deep socials for details on that, and that's gonna officially do it for everybody.
That sounded like.
Oh man! All right, everyone. Thank y'all for watching and putting up for my shoddy broadcasting / producing tonight. But we will catch y'all hopefully next week, if not definitely the week after. Take it easy, everybody.
Goodbye.